Hey, everybody, we are back with another topic. And as you know, we've promised that we will be coming back to speak about baby mama dramas and daddy dramas. And as you know, a lot of people are really struggling with that. And we have children involved in such dynamics. So tonight, we want to discuss that and just delve deeper into what are the impacts of experiencing these dramas where everybody is witnessing all these problems. My name is Matsileng Mohodi, and I've got three lovely people that have joined me tonight, and they're going to share some insights, and maybe we'll learn a thing or two from them. I'm going to let them introduce themselves. I'll start with you, Mazulu.
Hello. Thank you for having me. Umazulu, part of the Snooks group. Yeah.
Thank you. Welcome, and thank you. Gladwin, the only guy. So we are in trouble. One guy. We are represented.
Gladwin Mfolo, MEH Creatives.
Thank you. Thanks so much for coming.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for this platform once again, Matsileng. My name is Unachi. I'm a human behavior consultant and a businesswoman, and I am so excited to be discussing this lovely topic, hot topic tonight, and hope we have a good one.
Thank you. All right, so we are going to try and squeeze this in and just talk as quickly, not quickly, of course, not quickly, but we are going to try and make sure that we cover as much as we can in these few minutes that we have. So the intention of tonight is that we want to debunk this myth about so many issues surrounding women and men who had agreed to have babies together. And as soon as they part or when there are problems, then somebody suffers. And I think everybody suffers. Everybody in that situation suffers. So I'm with you guys tonight, and I would really like to know, what are your thoughts around what happens when a relationship breaks down and there are kids involved? Why do we have so much drama? We are talking about drama that is experienced in relationships.
Okay, I think maybe I can start. I don't know. I think one of the biggest underlying causes for challenges within relationships where people have broken up and they have children is that there's always a hidden agenda. There's always an agenda running from either party, the male and the female.
What do you mean a hidden agenda? Sorry, what do you mean a hidden agenda? From which part? So you mean when they are busy with the dance, somebody's thinking, I'm going to leave this one. Well, what do you mean?
So the agenda is, I'll say each one is running their own agenda. So you have the couple that come together. So the baby daddy drama and the baby mama drama is completely complex because it depends what situation it ever started with. So for example, you have a boyfriend and a girlfriend situation, and they get married, they have a child, they get divorced, and then you are left with to share the kids or the relationship between the ex-mom and the ex-dad and the children. Or you have a lady that got impregnated by a guy, and now the responsibility of the guy is that if they don't support the child, it is a problem, or if they're not on good terms. So the agenda is always at where it started. So for example, there are many agendas that you can run. For example, I can say, I'm a professional, I'm above 40, and I haven't had a child yet. And I strategically would like a child, but I don't really want the accountability of somebody fathering my child because I'm self-sufficient. So I'll pick a partner and I will not tell them my intention.
Yeah,
I'll
but,
get
but no drama there. So we're talking
no,
about
there is drama because remember that the male is not aware that you have an intention until they discover you're pregnant. Then the daddy decides, I want to be part of the child's life, but my intention was that I don't want you in part of the child's life. So it's different. Every situation has got its own agenda. But I think the biggest agenda that affects our society is that women like to blame men for not being present in their kids' lives. And we fail to take responsibility in terms of what is your role when you fall pregnant?
yeah. Okay.
What's your role?
Can
The day you find out at any age that you fall pregnant, what is your role? Number two, what informed your decision? Because if you're an 18-year-old, you do know about condom. You do know about contraception.
So you
What
say
was your
somebody
motive?
was pregnant. So let's allow Jabu Tukamazulu to come in.
Cool.
I hear Unati, I hear you, but reality is that for somebody like me, Okulele Lokshini,
We've lost you a bit there. Okay, so maybe Unati, you wanted to speak. So maybe let's continue with you, and then I wanted though Gladwin to come in. So maybe you can just finish off on that, but it's because Jabu had reacted, he wanted to say something. So maybe Unati come in, and then we'll go to Gladwin.
So for me, it's about the whole idea of falling pregnant and impregnation. So for me, on the women's perspective, what is very important is that the responsibility of carrying a child belongs to you, not to a guy. So I think, in my view, you need to be very much strategic in terms of what you want to carry. You need to be very strategic. Number two, you need to understand
what you want to carry, because you carry a baby.
Yes, you're carrying a baby, but it's related. The child also belongs to somebody else, right? So you need to know what the consequences are going to be when the child arrives on planet Earth. So you need to know it's not about you, it's about a life you are bringing onto the planet. So even if the father would die, the story still needs to evolve around the child as well. It's not only about you. So the intention that you ever have in terms of childbearing or want to be pregnant or wanting a child, you should think about the consequences that would affect you, the child, and the father of the child.
But you know, when it's nice that you don't think about those things. When it's lovey-dovey and you're happy, you don't think about those things. And even though there could be agendas, sometimes people genuinely hope that things will work out. This person, I'll build a family with them. Gladwin, what are your thoughts? Especially
I think
around men. I think what Unati is talking about is also the fact that sometimes a guy was not part of the plan, or the guy is not able to see the kids. So what are your thoughts around that?
Well, I guess, yes, there probably would be drama if ever the person was not told that you are actually just going to be used as a vessel to, pass on and create another human being, but you are never part of the plan in holding in raising that particular child. And I think there are people that will really take fathering somebody very seriously, and they will definitely bring drama there, and they say, I want to be part and parcel of that child's life. You cannot stop me from being the father of their child, etc., etc. They really wouldn't care at that time about these plans that they were not told about. I think if ever they were told that, or the person could have just gone to a sperm donor or something like that, those facilities rather than have, jupe somebody into doing something and then they expect it not to be any drama. That situation will definitely create drama there. And and I guess in most cases, the people that probably experiences the more drama are the guys, depending on what they get themselves into, a couple of maybe partners, and they have children with different partners, and the drama that comes with having to take care of those kids, and the demands that come from the different mothers. And this one would say is going to this school, that one is going to a different school, this one is asking why is this one going to that. There's always going to be comparison and all these other things that goes with that. It's really unfortunate that you find yourself in those situations. Sometimes you might have had a child with somebody else, and when you are not, maybe you're still single for that matter, and then you start getting married, and then all the dramas come out because somebody now becomes bitter with the fact that you didn't choose them, you have left them with a child and you chose somebody else, and then they create the drama, and just to make your life a little bit miserable because they were not the chosen one, in this regard. And there might have been other issues that have led to this separation or whatever the case, but somebody still holds the grudge that things didn't work out and now you are with somebody else, and so forth. And it's even worse when, I guess, it's a buildup of, because sometimes people have kids and then they have a challenge in going back to the shape that they were before, and then they just feel that
don't talk about shapes, please. Don't talk about shapes. Don't go there. You're starting another topic now.
So yeah, it's I guess there's quite a number of elements that would lead to this drama being in relationships there and stuff like that. And it's the unfortunate thing is if ever this drama continues, it is not conducive for the kids, and at the end the mother starts painting a bad picture about the other partner, or the father paints a picture about the mother or something like that. I don't think the drama comes only from women, and you can still find men who bring drama into the picture as well. Yeah, those are my thoughts.
Yeah. What happens if the father wants to see his child, but the mother is refusing? What do you think should happen? And what do guys go through when their partner is refusing them access to the child?
Well, I guess most of the time, yes, it is, because if ever even when you try to go the legal route, they would always, make the mention of the child is better off with the mother, etc., and for various reasons for that matter. And you find that sometimes they do go through a process of trying to get legal opinions about the options of, what do they have, what options do they have at that time. And some other time it very much difficult to get rulings that will probably favor them in that, and no matter how hard they try to be part and parcel of their children's life, it becomes much more difficult because the law is not really allowing for them to participate in that.
So I like what Gladwin said with regard to the gender. Oh, Jabu's back. Nice.
Yes, I'm back.
So just to close on my point before Jabu gets to have a nice little chat, is that I think one of the biggest agenda as well is money. I think that one of the biggest agendas that is run with regards to baby mama and baby daddy drama is highly money. So we need to be open, because some people get into it because they want their kids to be raised comfortably. They want their children to receive the benefits from the guy. Sorry?
So are you saying that sometimes people have, like a woman would have a baby with a guy simply because they want their child to be raised by this guy?
They want their child to have the privilege of the financial benefit, to be able to be supported by So a lot of the things that are happening nowadays is that women will go after a guy that has got money, and then they will threaten the guy to say, "I'll expose you, and this will tamper with your work. I'll destabilize your life because this guy's got money." If a guy is poor, what are you going to get out of the guy ultimately? So women are in the maintenance court. They are causing serious dramas for men because of money. It's honestly because I know women that can afford their kids, not they don't even rely on men for money for their children, married or unmarried. But people who take the responsibility, they don't have the financial burden of having to go to this guy and say, "Support my child." But the biggest agenda is money.
But then are you saying that when there is no money, the drama is less?
When there's no money, the drama is less. I'm telling you.
Okay. Do you Mazulu, Gladwin, do you agree? Do you agree with that? That when there's no money, then the drama is less?
I agree, but at the same time, I also don't agree. It's not necessarily about money, but money is actually the biggest reason why there would be those fights between the two. It would be a matter yokuthi maintain umntwana, the so and so doesn't maintain the kid and whatnot, therefore refusing them access to the baby or the kids. But other than that, I think what I was about to say before I got cut off previously was that most of the challenges that come up when there's a breakup and there's kids involved and then there's a bitterness around it is because of selfish reasons. The mother could be having their own selfish reasons as to then start creating drama and become baby mama drama, or the father could be the one that's experiencing that or going through that. So it's not necessarily always about money, but money is part of it.
So maybe then we're saying if the guy is supporting, then it's very unlikely that there would be problems. From
No.
what you say, is that
No, with my experience, Onati.
But then tell me what happens if, despite having all of that support, that because the woman, which is what Gladwin was saying, the woman wants to be the wife or wants to be the number one, and they still take. What do you say about that?
So what Gladwin said is very true. Sometimes, let's say in a situation where we've now sorted out the money, the guy supports the child, then we go deeper to say, yeah, but you didn't choose me. Number two, why are the kids of that woman getting so and my child is not? So the agenda, the underlying agenda is also still money, because if this guy was poor and the wife is so poor, they're street vendor, they're selling apples, and the other baby mama is driving a car passing them, she'd be laughing. She wouldn't be concerned about their livelihood and bothering them. She'd see that they're struggling. She'd actually be saying, "You thank God I left that guy. Look where he is today."
But do you think is that really what happens?
Men with no money, please. Women don't play like that.
Is that what really, Nana? I see Gladwin, Daddy. I'm not hearing this. So okay, so we are saying that money is the main thing in these problems. And
It's one of the biggest things, because let's say, for example, the guy is not that moneyed, but the dad's family, the guy's family is quite wealthy, they're well known. I want my kids to be known that they come from that family. If those people live in mud huts,
yeah, you don't want that. So tell me, how do we liberate our children from such shackles, where they are now part of these dynamics where it really impacts them? So how do we liberate our children from that? Because children suffer the most. So how do we liberate them?
I
How do you
think
say? Aye.
I think
We are
it's and please forgive me because you know the perks of having the small ones, they always want your
yeah,
attention sometimes
daddy,
when
daddy,
you
it's
with this.
fine.
I think working from home has also taught us that they're always going to be there and stuff. So
Okay.
what I think we need to be doing is I think sometimes we need to put the priorities of the children first before our own agendas in that regard. I think in that fashion we will then be able to enhance the relationship that still exists because to be good parents to kids, as much as it didn't work out, we can still be great parents to that child and then be able to to make them feel that they are still part and parcel. They have a father, they have a mother, and they can still, you know, get the benefits of both parents in that light, and then be able to tell the kids that yes, when it started off, when we made you, it was out of love,
When we
but
made
we
you
grew
how?
apart. And sorry.
When we made you how?
When we made yes, those are the questions that we'll say we'll talk to you about it when you're a little bit grown, and we'll tell you a lot more about it. But I think is that equally, I think the second part would be on, you know, sometimes we find that maybe that person that I had a child with get some negative influences from friends or something like that. But o ka se mo tlogele, o dirileng? Bona fela go na le gore o etsang and dilo tse tshwanang tse. When negatively influence this person to go and create havoc on that thing without even them caring about what are the consequences for the child that she has. And when you start writing them off or you move away from that particular location and you decide to relocate because this woman is just too much trouble at that time, and you're away from the child that would have been benefiting from a good relationship that would have existed between you and that and the partner that you broke up with.
I like
So yeah.
that. Yeah, I like that. So regardless of what is happening between the couple or the ex-couple, the child or the children must come first. So this means that even if they are not together, so let's say the father doesn't want to see the kids, the mother must shower the child with so much love that that child doesn't even feel that the father is not there. Is it possible to do that?
Of course, it is. So I think on my end, you know, raising a child is one of the biggest gifts human beings are going to receive on planet Earth. That is that's your riches. The primary riches and your wealth bearing is the relationship that you have in terms of raising your child, because it's the burden of responsibility. So for me, when I said that you need to realize falling pregnant, it's number one, it's not a joke. But also, I think we should start by getting educated as young children, boys and girls, to get educated in terms of understanding what the implications are when you decide to engage in sexual acts and to engage in having children. It's a very big responsibility. Number two, I believe that when a soul decides to descend on planet Earth, it is a divine kind of choice and intervention. It goes beyond and it transcends whatever challenges and agendas that the partners had when they ran that strategy. So whoever at a particular point has the burden of responsibility of raising the child must understand that your child does not belong to you. The child belongs to the world. They have their own journey. Your purpose is
bring
to
it back to the
guide.
house, to the family. You know,
So for me, you firstly you need to love the child. You need to love the child outside of if we have or we have not. You need to love the child. Your representation of love, it is the child's first understanding of what love is.
yeah.
Number two, it's the influences and how you raise your child that become a challenge. Because if you are continuously brainwashing your child to realize that the father
will always be the primary influencer of the child. So
But
sometimes
if the mother is running an agenda, if the mother is running her own agenda, this child is part of the pawn in the agenda.
Yeah, so what we are saying now is that the mother, if the father is not there, the mother must just continue loving the child and providing for the child. Because if
Yes.
you don't do that, then that impacts the child.
Yes. So the primary thing in terms of how kids get affected in these situations is that we need to take responsibility of loving the child. That's the first
The bit of loving the child and looking after the child.
Yes. So the next question to other people will be, how do I look after the child if I don't get support or don't have money? So in that respect, we need to have a strategy that's going to put food on the table. When the father of the child resists and doesn't give money, you have no choice but to go and work and fend for the child. You must have means. That is why the consequences of having a child is not just for you to be able to be supported. It's bigger than that.
Yeah.
The drama is not helping. It's not serving the child.
I agree 100% with that, because when you have a child, yes, we know there are no jobs, but when you have a child, it is so important that you go out and you find anything that you can do, because you know you have somebody that is dependent on you. And if the father comes around and they start supporting the child, that is a plus. It also doesn't mean that now you can relax and stop. So that's one part. The part that I think is important also that we need to address is, here is a mother that has got children, but the father is supporting and the children are not able to see their father because of the feud between the mother and the father. So how do we handle something? So the father is supporting, but the mother is refusing that the children go to see their father because there's another woman in the father's life. So at Gladwin, how would we handle something like that?
I think that is it is a very difficult one, right? Like I said, others would try and go the legal route. Others would try and go see the children when they are at school or something like that. They will try to speak to the elders to try and intervene and trying to find a workable solution or something like that. And then others will try and speak to the mother and say, let's try and sort out. I know you have the issues. Let me give you comfort that even though I have another person, this person is not going to replace you as a mother. You'll always be the mother to the kids, but they will see this person as maybe the second mother, and be able to get a little bit more out of it, etc. I think it's really quite tricky depending on the type of person that you're dealing with on the other end, because other people, they just don't want to listen to reason, and they would not, because of the deeper issues that they have there. And until they go and deal with those particular issues, you can't really do much about it, and they will always try and do this thing. But maybe as a guy, you would never, I guess, you don't stop supporting, you don't stop doing what you need to do. You'll continue with the hope that at some point you'll get a breakthrough, and this person will see. But even the kids, in time, they will be able to see on their own that, you know what, the person that the picture that has been painted about this person being bad and all is not actually true, and then they will start having that relationship with you.
That is so important, Gladwin, because kids grow up. Kids can see, they can sense, they can make their own judgments. But unfortunately, whilst they are doing that, then they start to blame somebody within the family, because they will see that I've been listening to this one party, but actually this is what is happening. So I also liked what you said about the father continue to support the kids. So whether the mother is economically independent, the father can continue sending the money, and the money can be saved for the kids, or he can save the money for the kids instead of not providing for the kids at all. But the biggest problem, I think, because the one main thing about guys is that maybe they don't see the kid, they don't see the kids, or they don't support the kids. So what are the strategies that we can use when we have a situation where the father is not supporting, is not seeing the kids? So just let's just close that part. What are the strategies that a woman can do, a woman with children can use if the father is not providing and is not seeing the kids, and she wants the father to be in the kid's life? So what strategies can they use?
I think when it comes to children, because we are guardians to them, if you have a situation where the guy's got kids and and the challenge is generally between the adults. So I think the people who are the custodians, who bear the responsibility of the main guardianship, which are the moms, they need to come to a fair ground, because the lady that's married to the guy, she needs to realize that it ultimately would not serve her for the guy not to be a part of the children's lives if he wants to be. So then if you and your husband agree that you would like that, you then need to open the playing field for the other party, which is the other mother on the other end, but also realizing that that person also needs to be part of the agenda of the children. If the person is still running an old agenda, it still becomes a challenge to the kids. So I'll give you another example. My parents got divorced. And before the divorce, we had not known a family without a mom and a dad, right? But we saw the problems and the issues within the marriage. At time of divorce, when the courts asked my dad in terms of custody, my dad was clinical, unlike many other men. He had his own view, and he said, I don't want the lady and her children. And for other people, that was astonishing. How can this man not want his kids after so long? Blah, 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 blah. And people would look at us as not being wanted or not being chosen. But to a degree, now that I'm older, I realize why he said that. He knew deep down that to raise children is a very big responsibility, and he's done it with someone. And the person who's the biggest caregiver of these kids is the mother. So they fare better with the mom. Maybe he wanted us as the kids to take the responsibility and the initiatives upon us to say we want to go to our dad at our own accord, not be enforced by the court. Right? So it opens another playing field where people think of it only one-sided. It opens another playing field to say, okay, this guy said this, but I don't really think it's true because this guy has raised us. So what did I do? After a long time, I went to my dad. He received me well. As much as he was still running an old agenda with my mom, but with me, he didn't turn me away. He didn't hate me.
I mean, remember when he said that, I mean, like you said, he raised you. So there's no way that he said he does, he could have said it in the heat of the moment because he was angry or hurt or he wanted to hurt your mom. But deep down, you know that he could never have stopped loving you guys as his children. So what I would really like to know is, here is a woman, and the guy doesn't want to see the kids, and he's not supporting the kids. What should the woman do? Continue and look after the kids, or continue fighting the guy? We know that it is the responsibility of the guy to look after the kids, but if it puts the kids into trouble, because right now we know maintenance courts are full because guys don't want to support their kids. But how healthy is it for the woman herself to be fighting this man? How healthy is it for her to really continue with her life instead of depending on the guy?
I think it's quite tricky, right? Yes, people could go the legal route to find and make sure that this person supports the child, and some of them become successful depending on whether they do have access to, reputable lawyers and stuff like that who can really get this thing done properly. And then on the other hand, you have people who have, I guess, principles of, a woman would look at this thing and say, why do I need to force the situation when somebody doesn't volunteer to take care of their own kids? Why would I want somebody like that in my life? And they will probably, match it to being married, to being in a marriage that is not really working, and you are trying to fight something that you know that this thing is not going to work. And at that time, the person decides that, you know what, I think I've tried all the avenues. I've given the person all the opportunity to be part and parcel of our kids' lives, and they haven't. And as such, I'm not going to force the situation, because I think it's getting to a point where most women can hold their own. They can do as good job as we can, be it in the corporate, and they earn the same kind of money and stuff like that, and be able to still provide that life for the kids that without the support from the other men, and they would still be able to do that. But the unfortunate part is, majority of the time, men are the ones that are always working and providing for the families, and maybe earning better, and so forth, and hence women would always want to try and find a way of pushing and getting them to contribute what they need to contribute from there, because they want a better life for them. So I say to them, if ever they have avenues that they could push, they must push that, for them to do their part, for those men to do their part. And whether it's a form of legal, whether it's a form of intervention through adults or elders in that, whether it's through finding friends that they know this guy would be able to listen to and talk to them, and try and convince them otherwise, whether it's been them engaging them and trying to find a way of, saying, if ever there's issues that we need to deal with, so we can put them off the way, and really look at how we take care of the kids. Maybe those are the things that they would need to engage in, and try and find a resolution. And if ever all those things fail, the last one, it will probably be just giving up and saying, this person is not going to work, and then moving on from there.
Thanks, Gladwin. I can see now we've really run out of time, and we need to wrap up. Sure, this topic, I would have really loved to also look at what should a partner do if the children of the children that okay, there's a guy, he's got children with another woman, but the children do not want the woman. How would but the father wants to have a relationship? How would we be able to handle something like that?
I guess we will have to get to a point of understanding why the kids are like that. Yes. And because sometimes the kids might have a valid reason why they don't like that person, right?
Yeah.
The way they get treated by them, or there might be certain things that sinister that you might not be seeing when you are around, and you're thinking these kids are just, being ridiculous or something like that. But when you're not there, other things are happening there. So I think you need to understand the why, and whether it's be through talking to them or through a third-party intervention, or whatever the case, that might get to the answer to your why.
Yeah.
And then from that point, you then, when you understand what that why is, you will then put together a plan of, okay, since I understand this is the reason, here is how I think should be addressed, so that you can then develop that relationship. But I think sometimes it gets to a point where it's just not going to work. They just not going to get along, and I guess for other people that becomes a deal breaker, where they say, I cannot have my children like my partner, or something like that. Or the other way around, somebody says, I can't be with you when your children don't like me, or something like that. It becomes a deal breaker in some sense, which is unfortunate, but the reality of the situation.
Yeah, I want us to take a few questions or comments You're Gladwin, I'm old. I can't see. Please read on your side. Let's see. A time has gone, huh?
From Moto was making a comment in saying, what is difficult is having a father who only parents when they want to. They are only available to parent and talk to the child via the phone. This becomes strenuous to the mother because the father dictates and creates false expectation to the child.
That's a big one.
It is. I think it's very unfortunate because these false expectations, getting the kids all excited and only to break their hearts later on that you don't deliver. And because the children are so loving, they will continue to love that parent, even when they know. And the mother keeps saying that, this guy will always break your heart because he has all these things that the expectations that he creates, and he doesn't fulfill those expectations and so forth. But equally, knowing that the kids love their father, doesn't want to be that bad mother that is going to cut it off and say, no, I don't want you to do anything with this man going forward, etc. It is a very difficult one and very unfortunate situation.
And that does happen, I think, quite a lot for a lot of mothers. So maybe the tip that we can give to such mothers where a father disappoints, maybe let's start to train our kids and do it as a game and say, your father will come and pick you up, but if they don't come, and then we have plan B, because we know how children want to see their fathers. And if a promise has been made, the children want to see their father. So perhaps as a way of making it easier on the child is to have a plan B, so that it is not completely disappointing for the child, and you do something that really interests the child, so that it overcompensates on the disappointment that is there. And I think sometimes we enjoy it when the father has failed because now he becomes the bad one. But the fact is the child suffers more. So I think as mothers, let's step up and say, okay, this one continues to disappoint my child, but I'm not going to allow my child to go through this pain on my watch. So maybe let's look for strategies to make sure that when the other one, then when a mother, you will deal with him on the side. You will deal with him. Why didn't you come? And why do you continue doing this to the child? But when a mama, I think step up, do something crazy with the child so that they forget about the pain. It won't go away, but at least in that moment, it will help, because that is really damaging for the child's psyche and confidence and mood.
Yeah, and I think it also becomes important to seek third-party help. And I guess among Black people, there's always a challenge of going to see a psychologist or taking your kids to a psychologist because they kind of assume that it seems like something is wrong. But you can find, because these people have been taught to teach us how to find a coping mechanism on difficult situations, etc., etc. And sometimes taking your child there might be of benefit, and the child has a better coping mechanism when there's this disappointment comes across, etc., etc. And they also give you tips on how to deal with those disappointments as the mother, the primary parent who's taking care of the child and dealing with these disappointments, etc.
I love it because seeing a counselor, a social worker, is not necessarily for people that have problems. I think if we could get into the habit of dealing with things as they come along, working on things so that they don't pile up. So today we are seeing so many young people that are struggling, and older people, of course, but there are a lot of young people, and it's because of those bits and pieces of things that have been accumulating over a long period of time. And if we were to deal with them as they come, then they wouldn't be as bad as they are right now. Because I think we are also going into an era where having mental health is very big, and therefore it is those small things that really contribute towards people experiencing mental health issues. I think time. Yeah, it's one of those. I would like us to wrap up. Unati, are you back? You seem like you're frozen still. Okay, I would like us to sort of give some kind of advice or tip to men and to women. But the biggest thing that I think we need to communicate is that the children are the ones that suffer the most. So if there's a child and you're a mother, you're not working, make a plan, and plan, so that you make sure that your child is sharp. If you're a guy and you're not willing to look after your child, you must know that it's going to catch up one day. It's going to catch up somehow. However, Gladwin, now I asked you, Madam talking. Let me just finish though this part. Sometimes we get so attached to the dad, the one that gave the swimming thing, and we get so stuck to wanting that person to be in the child's life. When we have uncles, we have teachers, we have sisters, brothers, who could play the role that the father is playing, instead of wanting this person who doesn't want to be in the child's life. So it is very important to see, because it doesn't help us, it doesn't help the child to want to force somebody. Rather show the child that there are other people. Make sure that the uncles, the aunts, the grandfathers, they're all there to support the child. So we are just trying to wrap it up, because it's a very big problem in our society. And we have a lot of young, especially young mothers, who are very dependent on their baby daddies to support the children, but the baby daddies are committed elsewhere. And it's creating a lot of stress and problems for families. So just in closing, what else can we say? Let's see, some men are bitter. Yes, men are bitter. Things happen, or when men are bitter, women are bitter, but it's not helping anyone. There's that, comment, it's Mozo, yeah. So Komoto, I agree. It's very broad. This topic is very broad. And I think with the time that we have, it's really not doing justice to everything. But I'd really like us to sort of close it up so that somebody can take the last nuggets out of this.
Am I on?
Yes, you are on. We've been watching you doing things.
Okay, in closing, I think our society needs to start really realizing that if we want to raise children that are going to be beneficial in society, we need to take responsibility for our actions. The drama between people that have had a child is not worth that. It's honestly not worth it. It impacts the child school-wise, personality-wise, and this cycle gets repeated. So if we can choose, if as mothers, and I'll talk about women, if we can choose to be to play a role that is going to be ours in this child's life, and make sure that we allow this child one day when they go out by themselves into the world, they're able not to bear so many burdens, all because I wanted a relationship with their father. It just can't be all about that. It needs to be about the children's future and being able to get an opportunity to raise a child in life. I think the responsibility is way bigger than just an opportunity cost between a failed relationship. It's bigger than that. Can we try and support these kids to realize that we are supporters and guiders and the people that love them in their lives, irregardless of whatever happened between us?
Yeah, that's so true. That's so true, Nati. And I think, I guess in hindsight, everything looks perfect in hindsight. And you could say to people, maybe you could have made your choices a little bit differently and so forth. But in most cases, you find that when all these things happen, people are still happy, they're still in love, they're still doing all these other things. I'm saying something happens, and it brings all this drama into one's life. But I think, to your point, I think the importance should be what would be the benefit outcome for my child, and how can I make that happen? And if ever the other party is willing to participate in making sure that that life is preserved and is taken care of, and so forth, then good. If ever they're not, then you know that you're better off, and be able just to continue on your own. And I think Matsele spoke about seeking, some support from family, whether it's brothers, uncles, that could literally play the role of a father. Or in this case, there are now mothers who don't want their kids, and a father is now having to take care of their kids, and so forth. And they could also do the same in taking care of that. But where things didn't work out, I think it will probably be best if ever you just accept, yes, it will be heartbreaking when you break up with that person, but accept that things didn't work out, and say, what can we be that will be the best for the child on the next phase, and then be able to see if ever you are able to work things out with that partner, and then be able to move from that point. And I think in that, there will be less drama, I guess, and also be able to, if ever you have a new partner, be able to be open and tell them about the child, tell them about the mother, tell about how you communicate with them, engage with them. So you minimize all this drama that you're meeting up with somebody and people get suspicious or something like that. They get comfortable as well, to avoid all this drama. So there's quite a bit, and I must agree with Khomotso that this topic is so broad, because there's so many elements to it that can influence this drama that happens there, that we could take a piece of it and then dissect it even more to get a better understanding of it. But I think from all the contributions that have been given today, it has been good, and I must apologize for the networks that have been going there, the babies that we're carrying here. It's part and parcel of the life that we live now, whether it's Eskom switching off electricity with load shedding, or us having to, working from home. It means you have your kids with you around and stuff like that. And sometimes they don't understand. They're just cranky. They just want you to hold them and so forth. And that's how we become parents, right? In it. And so I guess it's that time. Since Matsele is not here, maybe let me just thank everyone for attending, for listening, for spending the hour with us. And hopefully they got some piece of information, knowledge from us, and
and hopefully this will empower them. This will allow them to go and fetch their power and be the amazing human beings that they want to be. And women can strive to be the guardians of society, because we are the biggest influencers in society. Women are the biggest influencers in society. We determine what happens. Let us empower ourselves.
Power gone. Can you see this? Huh?
I just apologized to everyone, because I knew that we have Eskom issues and all these other things. So
Kanjani?
So in the midst of troubles, let's not forget that we need to rise above.
Yeah.
We need to rise above.
Yeah, thank you guys for holding the fort. And I'm hoping that this cutoff will not really affect us a lot, but I think we had a really good conversation, and I'm hoping that we can be able to find another time to sort of continue, because I know that there were quite a lot of points that we had prepared, and we wanted to sort of go deeper into them. So hopefully in another session, we'll be able to go deeper. So maybe let's close. I'm not sure whether you're doing your closing remarks or
Yeah,
It did. Yeah, it did.
You did. Gladwin?
Yeah, no, certainly we did, and like I said, we also apologize for the disruptions that were happening at that time, and I guess it's part and parcel of our lives now with load shedding and working from home, etc. So yeah, and I said, hopefully, whatever that we manage to share from our own little experiences, people manage to grab some knowledge or some understanding from what we share.
Thank you very much, and I really do hope that we will always put children first and understand that if things are not right between the couple, that the biggest sufferers are the children. So if we can always really remember to put children first. And I think I also want, just in my closing, to say it's also very important that we don't get attached to wanting the actual sperm donor to be there for the child, because there could be other people that could support you and support the child, so that the child does not carry all these burdens because the real father is not there. So there is a difference between a father and a dad. So just make sure you remind your child and you help your child to not get stuck and be impacted by the problems between the mother and the father. So thank you very much for joining us. My name is Matsileng Mahodi from I Get It Now. Please follow us on Instagram. So we are working on having our sessions on Instagram as well. So you can also go on YouTube. Our sessions are on YouTube as well. So thank you very much for joining us. Continue following our posts, and we'd really love to hear a lot from you so that we know what other topics are important for you so that we can cover those as well. So thank you very much and good night.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nati and Glenn. Unfortunately, Jabu, I think it's load shedding as well. So, but thank you very much, and thank you for your insights, for your input, and for your time. So thank you very much.
You're welcome.